right, guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. So I'm just gonna give you guys an update on, myself, how everything is going, how we're, trucking along through the off season. This is gonna be a little bit of a different video. We're just gonna voice over today's session, which was pull and chest. So you're gonna see highlights from that workout. You're seeing here deadlifting 520 pounds for a set of 7, and it wasn't the smoothest set. Definitely wasn't my best deadlift set to date. But it's 2 reps up from the last time I did pull 520 pounds, which was a couple months ago. And if you guys have been following me a little bit closer, specifically on Instagram, I've talked about it a little bit more. But I've switched up my deadlift structure. So instead of switching the movement completely, I've just adjusted the rep range. So before I was doing a 4 to 6 rep set, whereas now we're aiming for somewhere around 8 to 10. So I didn't quite get that 8th rep today. But prior to this workout, I spent about 40 minutes shoveling a lot of snow in my driveway. So I was going into the workout a little pre-fatigued, but you got to do what you got to do when you own a house and your fiance needs to get out of the driveway in the morning. So, but anyways, enough about that. We'll talk about the off season and where things are at. So, slowly creeping up around 195 pounds is probably where the top of the off season is going to be. I had a coaching call with Coach Cliff Wilson probably 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now. And he was happy with how I was looking at 190. He was pleasantly surprised with body composition at that weight. So we've opted to keep pushing a little bit more and probably topping around 195 pounds before a mini cut for the wedding in August. So slowly creeping up to that 195 over the course of the next few months. I did weigh myself Saturday morning, recording this Tuesday, and I was 192, I believe. So, as long as I don't get, too carried away, we should still probably, see that 195 by, I would predict, end of March, April at this rate. And then, I'll talk to him again and recalibrate. And if he says that's enough there, then we'll stop there. I did make a calorie adjustment a week or two ago now as well, up around 3,800. I believe, give or take. There's some days that's probably a bit more than that, probably a little bit north of 4,000 calories. And overall, I feel good. No real issues as far as like digestion goes. I went through a period where hunger was a little bit low, but that seems to have passed. I would say every time it's time to eat, I am ready to eat, and I think that just comes down to the schedule and being consistent with things, right? When it comes to timing my meals out with regards to, day to day, obviously, but also with training, with, wake and bedtimes. Like, I think all of that stuff has played a factor in, being able to eat, quite a bit while still not getting the negative effects of eating so much food. When you're pushing your weight up, when you're pushing, food up, it can be sometimes a daunting task where you're just like, you look at the plate of food and you're like, man, this is not what I want to be doing right now. I do not want to be shoveling my face full of food, which is, quite interesting when you compare that to being at the end of a prep where, you could do nothing but eat and not feel full whatsoever. And now we're on the opposite end of the spectrum where, maybe eating a little bit less sometimes would be a pleasant change. But we don't want to do that right now. That's not going to get us to where we want to go. So we're going to keep trucking forward with that. When it comes to competing itself, 2022 is still the plan, but where in 2022 that could vary. Upon last conversation with the coach, we spoke about spring, and that is going to be very much dictating on the Canada-U.S. border. So for those that don't know, I am just kind of like southern Ontario, which means the U.S. border for me to get across to New York and stuff like that, it is really not much of a hassle at all. It's a couple-hour drive, which make things super convenient. Where to go down to competing in the OCB or the IMBF, a couple different federations down there that I want to hit up. It's pretty doable. It's really not that much of a chore at all. But unfortunately, with everything going on in the world, the borders are still, from my understanding, closed. As of recording this in February, mind you that we still have over a year before I would attempt to cross the border and compete. But that is very much still something that weighs on my mind. And if it comes down to it, and I cannot cross the border and go down there and compete, I won't be competing in the spring, because the shows that I want to do in the spring are all in upstate New York, Rochester, Utica area. So stuff like that is something that does probably cross my mind once a day, and I just kind of think and ponder about it. Which is frustrating, because I'm getting to the point now, even being still a year from the stage, I'm getting the itch to compete. Prior to this off season, I was competing quite regularly, and by the time I do see the stage again, even in the spring, it'll be basically 3 years, because last competition was April 2019. I did try to compete in 2020, but that just didn't pan out. So, by the time I do see the stage again, it'll be three years and change, which is pretty crazy, because that's definitely the longest period of time I've had between competing, and I'm excited, because the changes in my physique over that 3 years, by the time I do see the stage again, will be pretty, I guess, apparent, for lack of a better term. I'm confident that things are going to look very much improved, top to bottom, right? When I look at photos, when I compare things, like, obviously there's areas that have gotten a little bit more attention than others throughout this off season so far. My lower body, my back, my posterior chain, things I've talked about before. But comparing my arms, they're an area that seems to have come up, and just looking at things makes me excited, makes me anxious, but also, remembering that we still got a lot of time before we do get to see any of that hard work unveiled on stage. So, it's a bit of a battle sometimes, just because I am so used to doing this stage thing a little bit more often than I have been. But it comes down to wanting things that are a little bit bigger than just competing for the sake of competing. I talk about my goals pretty openly, that I do want to achieve a natural pro status by the time I do step on stage again. So we're doing the things we need to do to make that happen. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean we need to rush the stage. And I know that I'm going to be against a lot of good quality athletes that have done their time, so to speak, with regards to spending time building muscle and developing their physiques, which I am doing now. But anyways, we'll save the rest for another video. This is coming to an end really quick, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.